Is the Mediterranean becoming the new battleground for energy supremacy? C. The Eastern Mediterranean, long celebrated for its rich history and strategic crossroads, now holds another, more tangible treasure beneath its waters, a wealth of natural gas and oil reserves. With trillions of cubic feet of gas and untapped petroleum fields lying just beneath the seabed, this region is becoming one of the most sought-after energy hotspots in the world. These resources are not only valuable, they have the power to reshape economies and alter the very balance of power in a region already marked by a long history of political tensions. This energy wealth has transformed the Eastern Mediterranean into a high-stakes arena for geopolitical rivalry. What was once a regional dispute over maritime boundaries is now amplified by the potential of lucrative energy reserves, drawing the attention of both local and global players. For Greece and Turkey, neighboring nations with a fraught history, the stakes couldn't be higher. Control over these waters represents not only economic gain, but also power and security. And as each country vies for dominance, they risk bringing other forces into the fray. From the European Union, which has firmly supported Greece, to the United States, which holds significant interest through American energy giants like ExxonMobil. Greece and Turkey stand at the center of this struggle, but they're not alone. The interests of other regional powers like Egypt, Cyprus, and Israel add layers of complexity to an already volatile situation. Major energy companies are also pushing forward with exploration and drilling plans, adding fuel to the tension simmering in these waters. As each side fortifies its position, the region inches closer to a breaking point. Are we witnessing the dawn of a new energy era, or the beginning of a never-ending standoff? Stay with us as we dive deep into the unfolding drama of the Eastern Mediterranean, uncovering the geopolitics that shape this high-stakes energy race. And watch until the end to discover who might ultimately control the massive wealth beneath the waves. Now, in the waters surrounding Crete, Cyprus, and even off the coast of Israel, experts estimate nearly 122 trillion cubic feet of natural gas and around 1.7 billion barrels of oil lie untapped beneath the seafloor. To put this in perspective, that's enough gas to meet Greece's domestic needs for decades and potentially turn it into a significant energy exporter to Europe, which is eager to find alternatives to Russian supplies. For Greece, the newly identified reserves south of Crete are especially promising. This region, where ExxonMobil has commenced exploratory drilling, could hold as much as 600 billion cubic meters of natural gas, a resource that would truly transform Greece's economy. While Greece's partnership with ExxonMobil and Hellenic Petroleum is still in its early stages, the project is backed by billion-dollar investments, showing that the world is taking notice of Greece's energy potential. But why does this matter so much? Quite simply, these reserves are a ticket to economic stability, energy independence, and influence over European energy markets. For Greece, successfully exploiting these resources would mean a boost to its GDP, lower energy cost, and a strengthened bargaining position in Europe. Securing this energy wealth would make Greece an essential player in the regional energy supply chain, especially given Europe's heightened demand for non-Russian gas. Meanwhile, Turkey's rapidly growing energy demands mean that tapping into the reserves could help meet domestic needs, reduce dependence on imports, and serve as a buffer against future energy crises. But Turkey's ambitions extend beyond economics. It sees control over these waters as a path to regional supremacy. As Turkey pushes forward with its Blue Homeland Doctrine, it's increasingly clear that energy resources are part of a broader strategy to solidify its influence across the Mediterranean. But the recent flurry of activity by Greece, Turkey, and energy giants like ExxonMobil and Total Energies is no coincidence. In 2023 alone, ExxonMobil began operations in key exploratory blocks south of Crete, where initial surveys have shown high potential. This area could yield up to 50 million barrels of oil equivalent, making it one of the most promising underdeveloped sites in the eastern Mediterranean. Meanwhile, Turkey has been conducting its own seismic surveys in contested waters near Cyprus and, in some cases, near Greek islands. Turkey's vessels, escorted by Navy ships, have been mapping the seafloor for new reserves. This activity is not just a search for resources, but a clear signal to Greece and the international community that Turkey is determined to secure its piece of the Mediterranean's energy wealth. Which begs the question, could the scramble for underwater riches in the eastern Mediterranean push Greece and Turkey to the brink of open conflict? Here's what's even more distressing. The battle over exclusive economic zones, or EEZs, between Greece and Turkey has turned maritime boundaries into a hotbed of conflict. See, an EEZ grants a country exclusive rights over resources up to 200 nautical miles from its coast. But in this region, overlapping claims blur the lines. Greece argues that its islands like Castellorizo, Crete, and Rhodes deserves their own EEZs, which would extend Greek jurisdiction over wide stretches of the Mediterranean. Turkey, however, contends that islands near its mainland shouldn't hold the same rights as large landmasses. For Ankara, Greece's claims create a maritime wall that restricts Turkey's access to vital resources. But Turkey's Blue Homeland Doctrine, launched in 2006, is what has made this standoff even worse. This strategy asserts Turkey's rights to vast areas in the Mediterranean, framing maritime control and resource security as national priorities. Turkey claims waters that overlap with Greek and Cypriot EEZs, signaling a willingness to defend these areas militarily. To Greece, this doctrine is a clear expansionist threat, prompting stronger alliances with nations like Egypt and Italy. Tensions reached a boiling point in August 2020 near the Greek island of Castellorizo, only 2 kilometers from Turkey's coast. Turkey deployed its seismic survey vessel, Oryx Reis, escorted by warships into contested waters, prompting Greece to respond with its own naval forces. The resulting standoff highlighted how quickly these disputes can escalate. Despite diplomatic efforts, military standoffs remain frequent, as neither Greece nor Turkey shows any signs of retreating from these energy-rich waters. But with so many powerful players circling the eastern Mediterranean, could this high-stakes energy race pull Greece and Turkey into an even bigger geopolitical storm? Before we address this question, I thought you should know it takes a huge amount of time to make these videos for you, and we'd love for you to support our channel by hitting the subscribe button. Thanks for that, and let's continue. Now, here's the thing. The European Union stands as Greece's most steadfast ally, backing its maritime claims while condemning Turkey's aggressive moves in the eastern Mediterranean. For the EU, this region represents more than a geopolitical tension point. It's a strategic opportunity to diversify Europe's energy sources and reduce dependence on Russian gas. The discovery of natural gas in Greek and Cypriot waters could be a game changer for EU energy security, especially given recent tensions with Moscow. You see, the EU has supported Greece with diplomatic pressure on Turkey, even imposing sanctions over Turkey's activities in contested waters. However, the EU's influence is complicated by its need for Turkey's cooperation on key issues, such as managing migration. This dependency forces the EU into a delicate balancing act, supporting Greece without fully alienating Turkey. Meanwhile, the United States, a NATO ally to both Greece and Turkey, navigates its own complex role in the region. Historically, the U.S. has relied on Turkey's strategic position, especially with military assets like Incirlik Air Base, critical for operations in the Middle East. However, rising tensions between Turkey and other NATO allies, as well as Turkey's increasing ties with Russia, have complicated U.S.-Turkey relations. In contrast, the U.S. is strengthening its partnership with Greece, particularly through military and energy investments. American energy companies like ExxonMobil are actively involved in Greek waters, where new gas reserves have promising potential. For the U.S., this partnership with Greece supports broader goals of reducing Europe's energy dependency on Russia while enhancing regional security. Joint military exercises and infrastructure investments further underscore Washington's pivot towards Greece. But other global players have their own stakes here as well. Russia aims to retain its role as Europe's top energy supplier and sees Turkey as a valuable partner through projects like the Turk Stream pipeline, which delivers Russian gas to Europe via Turkey. Meanwhile, China views the Eastern Mediterranean as strategically significant within its Belt and Road Initiative, expanding its economic footprint through investments in Mediterranean infrastructure. Although less involved in the Greece-Turkey dispute, China could strengthen ties with Turkey to access Mediterranean trade routes. What's more, regional alliances like Cyprus, Egypt, and Israel have joined forces in the East Mediterranean Gas Forum, aiming to cooperate on energy projects that bypass Turkey. This coalition reflects a shared interest in countering Turkish influence while solidifying regional partnerships. The United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS, forms the legal backdrop to these disputes, allowing coastal states to establish exclusive economic zones up to 200 nautical miles from their coastlines. However, Turkey is not a signatory to UNCLOS and disputes key provisions that support Greece's EEZ claims, especially those based on Greek islands close to the Turkish mainland. For Greece, UNCLOS is a clear legal basis for its claims, as the treaty recognizes island territories as entitled to their own EEZs. Turkey, however, argues that the unique geography of the Eastern Mediterranean, where Greek islands lie near its coast, requires a different interpretation. This legal divide has deepened the stalemate, making diplomatic resolution challenging, as each side remains entrenched in its interpretation of maritime rights. Which begs the question, how far is Greece willing to go to secure its energy future? And can it really stand its ground against Turkey's growing ambitions in the Eastern Mediterranean? Here's the thing. Greece is moving decisively to secure its claims in the Eastern Mediterranean by forming strategic alliances and upgrading its naval forces. Central to this strategy is Greece's recent push to establish clear, internationally recognized maritime boundaries. In 2020, Greece signed a pivotal exclusive economic zone agreement with Egypt, drawing a line in the Mediterranean that directly counters Turkey's controversial maritime accord with Libya. The Greece-Egypt agreement creates a legal foundation for Greece's right to explore and develop resources in these waters, challenging Turkey's efforts to extend its influence across the region. In the same year, Greece also signed an EEZ agreement with Italy, this time focused on the Ionian Sea, although less directly related to the Greece-Turkey dispute. This agreement further reinforces Greece's maritime claims with support from Italy and Egypt. Greece is creating a web of regional partnerships that strengthen its legal standing and support its push for energy security. These agreements effectively guard Greece's sovereignty and provide it with a shield against Turkey's expansive Blue Homeland doctrine, which seeks to claim large portions of the Eastern Mediterranean. However, Greece knows that diplomatic support alone won't secure its interests, especially with Turkey's assertive posture in the region. To back its claims, Greece has invested heavily in upgrading its navy, The centerpiece of this modernization effort is the acquisition of advanced frigates, particularly the French-made Belhera-class frigates. These warships come equipped with cutting-edge radar and missile defense systems, enhancing Greece's ability to monitor and protect its EEZ. In addition to frigates, Greece is bolstering its fleet with new submarines and corvettes, focused on quick response capabilities to address any potential confrontation with Turkish forces. What's even more fascinating is that Greece is restructuring its entire naval strategy, shifting toward a more agile, rapid response force ready to defend its maritime claims. This buildup signals its readiness to protect its exploration activities. With a clear message to Turkey and the international community, Greece is prepared to assert its rights and won't back down. The truth is, if Greece becomes an energy hub, the economic windfall could enhance its standing within the European Union, providing it with additional leverage in its ongoing dispute with Turkey. This newfound strength would give Greece a stronger voice in regional matters and a better ability to safeguard its sovereignty in the Eastern Mediterranean. So, what happens when a nation's quest for energy security collides with its neighbor's sovereignty, and each is prepared to defend its claim? See, Turkey's Blue Homeland Doctrine has fundamentally shifted its approach to the Eastern Mediterranean, reflecting a vision of maritime dominance that aligns closely with its pressing need for energy security. As Turkey imports the majority of its energy, it remains heavily reliant on foreign suppliers, a dependency Turkey aims to reduce by discovering and controlling its own resources. For Ankara, this is more than an economic pursuit. It's a strategic priority that could greatly enhance its geopolitical standing. The Blue Homeland strategy sees Turkey staking a claim to large sections of the Eastern Mediterranean, a stance that directly challenges Greece's maritime boundaries and exclusive economic zone agreements. For Turkey, securing these waters and the resources they contain is framed as a matter of national sovereignty. Achieving energy self-sufficiency is crucial for Turkey, as it would lower its vulnerability to energy price swings and build resilience against potential Western sanctions. To realize its Blue Homeland ambitions, Turkey has made significant investments in its naval capabilities. In recent years, it launched its first domestically built frigates and has made strides towards constructing a fleet featuring advanced destroyers and submarines. The centerpiece of this effort, Turkey's Miljim project, aims to develop indigenous warships, including a series of modern corvettes that bolster Turkey's influence. These naval advancements form part of a larger strategy to assert Turkey as a maritime power capable of defending its claims independently. By expanding its fleet, Turkey is not only safeguarding its maritime interests, but also signaling to Greece and the broader international community that it's prepared to assert its claims with force if necessary. Which begs the question, is the Eastern Mediterranean headed toward prosperity or peril? As Greece and Turkey continue their standoff over the Eastern Mediterranean's resources, the region's future is clouded with uncertainty. Both nations are firmly rooted in their claims, making further exploration likely to escalate tensions. But here's the catch. Energy companies hesitate to invest heavily in zones prone to military confrontations, leaving many projects stalled in early exploration due to these risks. The role of global powers could tip the scales. EU support for Greece, U.S. interest through ExxonMobil, and Russia's influence over Turkey add layers to an already complex power balance. Any shifts in these alliances or changes in international law could drastically impact the region, favoring either Greek or Turkish claims. For Greece and Turkey, the stakes are massive. Securing these resources would boost their economies and redefine their energy futures. Yet the increasing militarization of the Eastern Mediterranean, with naval buildups on both sides, raises the risk of conflict, overshadowing these economic benefits. A single misstep could turn this energy rivalry into an open confrontation. But there's a glimmer of hope in all this tension. The possibility of resolving this dispute through the International Court of Justice. As both Greece and Turkey are members of the United Nations, the ICJ could play a pivotal role in offering a neutral, legal framework to resolve their differences. This could be a pathway to avoiding the potentially disastrous consequences of conflict, while also ensuring that any agreements made are legally binding, thus preserving stability in the region. To wrap things up, the path forward will demand careful diplomacy and possible compromises. If these tensions aren't managed, both nations and the region could face economic setbacks and instability. Cooperation may ultimately offer more rewards than confrontation. So what do you think? Will diplomacy win out? Or are we on a path to something more dangerous? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like and subscribe.